Congress leader Rahul Gandhi tears into the Modi government over the India-US trade deal, accusing it of selling out India and surrendering its future. Gandhi asks the government, "Aren't you ashamed of selling Bharat Mata?" The government hits back, saying Rahul Gandhi is sad that India is progressing. The White House revises its fact sheet on the India-US trade deal, drops mention of pulses, changes the wording on India's $500 billion investment plan and rolls back digital tax claims. With French President Emmanuel Macron set to visit India in a few days, a mega 3.5 lakh crore defence deal is on the table, with India expected to place an order for 114 Rafale fighter jets valued at close to 40 billion euros. It could become India's largest defence procurement ever. BJP's Ritu Taure becomes Mumbai's new mayor, ending the Thackeray family's 25-year dominance over the financial capital civic body. All 6 stanzas of Vande Mataram must be sung before the national anthem at all schools and government events, say new government guidelines. The United States used and discarded Pakistan like toilet paper, says Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif in the National Assembly. Asif also admits that the terrorism Pakistan faces today is a blowback of the mistakes committed by dictators in the past. In a shocking incident in Canada, 10 people killed and dozens injured in shootings at a school and a nearby home in British Columbia. The police say the shootings might be linked. The suspected attacker kills himself. The fallout of the Epstein scandal keeps growing by the day. Democratic Congressman Rahul Gandhi says he forced the US Justice Department to reveal 6 hidden names of global titans allegedly tied to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's shadowy network. Hello and welcome to the Times of India. You watching Headlines at 8 with me, Neha Khanna. Our top story. Rahul Gandhi once again tore into the Modi government over the India-US trade deal, accusing it of selling India and surrendering its future to the United States. Speaking in the Lok Sabha today, the leader of opposition lashed out at the centre, saying it had sold India by allowing US goods to enter the Indian market and that the government had endangered the livelihood of Indian farmers. Gandhi said, "You have sold India. Are you not ashamed of selling India? You have sold our mother, Bharat Mata." He added it was wholesale surrender, with India's energy security handed over to America and farmers' interests compromised. Rahul Gandhi argued that if an India-bloc government had negotiated the trade agreement with the US, it would have told Donald Trump that he should treat India as an equal. In a blistering attack on the government, Rahul Gandhi said, "This is complete surrender. It's a tragedy because it's a surrender not just of the Prime Minister. He has surrendered the future of 1.4 billion Indians. He has surrendered the future because he wants to protect the BJP's financial architecture on which there is a case in the United States." The Congress leader said the interests of the farmers have been compromised and the farmers are facing a storm as agricultural products from the US will flood Indian markets. He also alleged that the Indian textile industry is finished. He said, "We are heading into turbulent times and the nation has been sold out. Its data has been sold and its farmers have been sold." Gandhi went on to say, "What have you done? In the beginning, 3% tariff was the average. Now it has gone up to 18%, a 6 times increase. US imports will go from $46 billion to $146 billion. This is absurd. They have no commitment to us. We have a commitment to them." Gandhi said, referring to a provision that says India will buy $500 billion in US energy and tech products. He then added, "We're standing like fools. Our tariff has gone up to 18% and theirs has come down from 16 to 0. The government hit back at the Congress MP. Union Minister Kiren Rijiju said, "No one can sell India. He accused the Congress party of weakening the country. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the strongest Prime Minister of India and the Congress is sad because India is progressing. The BJP launched a sharp counter-attack accusing Rahul Gandhi of dragging politics and parliamentary decorum to a new low and making baseless allegations.
The point is that I do not believe that any Indian Prime Minister, including Mr. Modi, would sign such a deal unless there was a chokehold on him. So, I do not, sir, this budget that you have...
You and your member have not made any question, and I believe that day when Piyush Goyal had made a statement on the floor of the House.
सर मुझे आप कंक्लूड तो करने दीजिए सर.
चलिए
मैं तो यहाँ 2-3 और घंटे लग जाएंगे सर.
ओके थैंक यू.
आप चाहते हैं तो मैं लगा देते हैं सर.
नहीं, काइंडली कंक्लूड.
So we have buckled on tariffs. We have handed out our data, given up control over digital trade rules, no data localization, free data flow to USA, limit on digital tax, no source code disclosure, and 20-year tax holiday. The most valuable asset that India has and will ever have has been handed over. Our farmers have been left to the mercy of mechanized, massive American farms. Our textiles have been wiped out. Bangladesh now is going to wipe out our textile industry. Our energy security has been handed over. We can't buy oil from who we want to buy oil from. Now, I don't believe any Indian Prime Minister would do this. Logic in here, sir. Okay, sir, let me speak.
Forgotten, I think so.
I am saying, Speaker, sir, I am saying that you have sold India. Are you not ashamed of selling India? Do you have no shame of selling India? You have sold our mother, Bharat Mata. Do you have no shame? But sir, the interesting thing is, I know that the Prime Minister would not sell India under normal circumstances. He will not do it. You know why he sold India? Because they are choking him.
तो आखिरी में मैंने उनको याद दिलाया कि भारत देश को ना कोई बेच सकता है ना कोई खरीद सकता है. इस देश का मूल्य, इसका कीमत कोई लगा नहीं सकता है. वो आराम से राहुल गांधी बोल दिया कि भारत को बेच दिया और कोई भारत को खरीद लिया. ये भारत को कोई सोच भी नहीं सकता है खरीदने बेचने का. इसलिए मैंने कहा कोई माई के लाल पैदा नहीं हुआ जो इस देश को खरीद सकता है, बेच सकता है. और बार बार मोदी जी को सरेंडर किया बोलता है. अरे 2014 से पहले भारत 11वें स्थान में है. लोगों के सामने में जाके हाथ फैलाते थे और लोग कहते थे कि भारत तो फ्रेजाइल 5 है, इकोनॉमी बहुत कमजोर है, टूटने वाले हैं, भारत को कोई सीरियसली नहीं लेते हैं. अब हम टॉप 4 में आ गए हैं, टॉप 3 में होने वाले हैं. इतना 11 साल में इतना बड़ा छलांग लगाया तो कौन किया? मोदी जी ही तो किया है.
A day after releasing a fact sheet on the India-US trade deal, which highlighted many of the key provisions, the United States has now revised the document. The new fact sheet released by the White House has dropped the claim that India would reduce tariffs on certain pulses. It has also altered the wording relating to the $500 billion investment commitment from India. The revisions in the fact sheet are significant as agricultural imports, particularly pulses, are sensitive for India's farm sector. The fact sheet that had been released on Tuesday explicitly mentioned certain pulses among the products for which India would reduce or eliminate tariffs. The updated version of the document no longer carries any mention of pulses. It says India will eliminate or reduce tariffs on all US industrial goods and a wide range of US food and agricultural products, including dried distillers' grains, red sorghum, tree nuts, fresh and processed fruit, soybean oil, wine and spirits, and additional products. India is the world's largest producer as well as consumer of pulses, including lentils, chickpeas and dry beans. To protect the interests of Indian farmers, New Delhi has imposed substantial tariffs on American exports in these categories. The change in the US fact sheet suggests that India managed to push back on that aspect. The Trump administration has also removed the mention of agricultural goods from the document. It has changed its wording around President Trump's claim that India had made a commitment to buy over $500 billion worth of US goods. The earlier version of the fact sheet claimed India committed to buying more American products and purchase over $500 billion of US energy, information and communication technology, agricultural coal and other products. The revised paragraph does not refer to agricultural products. It has also replaced the word committed with intends. The politically sensitive agricultural sector accounts for 1/3 of India's GDP. The country's agricultural space was estimated to be worth $580 billion to $650 billion, according to a June report by McKinsey & Co. According to them, the sector could grow to $1.4 trillion by 2035. New Delhi has resisted opening its agricultural sector because such a move may intensify pressure on domestic farmers in the highly competitive market. The Trump administration has also walked back assertions that India would eliminate digital services taxes. The updated version says India committed to negotiate a robust set of bilateral digital trade rules that address discriminatory or burdensome practices and other barriers to digital trade. After the deal was announced, the centre assured Indian farmers that they were fully protected. The farm sector has not been fully opened. That's what Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has been saying, adding that sectors where India is self-sufficient have been kept outside the deal.
Within hours of releasing its fact sheet on India-US trade framework, the White House quietly revised the document, removing or softening several key claims about India's commitments. The changes came after New Delhi flagged that certain wordings and items had been included without mutual agreement, exposing how sensitive and tightly negotiated the deal really is. One major correction involved agricultural tariffs. The original fact sheet claimed India would reduce tariffs on certain pulses, a politically sensitive sector in a country that is the world's largest producer and consumer of lentils, chickpeas, and dry beans. The revised version removed pulses entirely, signaling that India pushed back strongly against any suggestion of concessions that could trigger domestic backlash. Another significant rollback concerned digital taxation. The White House initially said India would eliminate digital services taxes, but the revised document now states only that India has committed to negotiate digital trade rules. This aligns with India's position, especially since India had already scrapped its 6% equalization levy on digital advertising from April 1, 2025, well before the trade framework was announced. The language on purchases of American goods was also diluted. The phrase committed to buy was replaced by intends to buy, and references to agricultural purchases were removed. This mirrors the February 7 joint statement and avoids creating legally binding expectations that India never signed up for. The revisions come amid wider controversy triggered by President Donald Trump's claim that India had agreed to slash tariffs and non-tariff barriers to zero. The updated fact sheet makes it clear this is not the case. It speaks of selective tariff reductions over time, not blanket zero tariffs, reflecting India's cautious, calibrated approach. Comments by US Trade Representative Jameson Greer further underline the strategic context.
They've started ramping back up purchases of American energy and energy from other sources. We've talked to them about oil from Venezuela. Remember, before 2022, the Indians did not really procure Russian oil. It's really an artifact of the Russia-Ukraine war and the discounted oil they could get. As you mentioned, we want the supply chains here in the United States and as close to home as possible. We know that it's a process when you're shifting from globalization and all of the challenges that's presented for our country. When you're shifting to a more resilient and secure economy, at some point you have to shift supply chains around. India can be a way station for that. They have a lot of folks there. They have manufacturing capacity. Of course, we want to make sure that American manufacturing is first and foremost. The American worker is first. But certainly, to the extent we're going to import from other countries, India can be a good source as long as it's balanced and it's fair.
Taken together, the edits reveal more than drafting errors. They show how carefully India is managing pressure, perception and policy, ensuring that trade cooperation with the US does not cross domestic red lines. In this deal, what was removed matters as much as what remains.
French President Emmanuel Macron is set to visit India this month, and a 3.5 lakh crore mega deal is on the table. At the heart of the talks that will take place between the two sides lies a massive 114 aircraft Rafale fighter jet deal valued at almost 40 billion euros. This could become India's largest defence procurement ever. Once cleared, it will redefine the scale of India-France military ties. The deal will not only be India's biggest ever weapons agreement, but will also include provisions to manufacture around 100 fighter jets in India. It will involve the transfer of high-grade fighter jet technology and a strategic partnership to enhance the Make in India program. The Rafale, a twin-engine, multi-role fighter jet, is widely regarded as one of the deadliest in the world and known for executing air superiority and precision strike missions. India already has 36 Rafales. The Air Force took delivery of the last C variant in December 2024 and has ordered 26 naval variants, the M version, in a deal worth 63,000 crore rupees. The M version Rafales will be deployed on board aircraft carriers INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya. These fighter jets were in fact deployed during Operation Sindoor, India's military response to the Pahalgam terror attack in May last year.
Okay. Shivani, Rafale definitely was a hero. Amongst other heroes, during Op Sindoor, there were a lot of other heroes also. Yes, Rafale is the buzzword. Aapne wo word used istemal kiya. It is the buzzword. Indian Air Force is looking forward to inducting a lot more MRFA aircraft, whether that is going to be Rafale or any other, presently under deliberation, and a concrete decision on this has not yet been taken, and so therefore it will not be correct for me to comment at the moment. But yes, Indian Air Force is definitely looking forward to induct a lot more of these newer generation aircraft into our inventory, and the sooner the better. That is as far as your question is concerned.
The United States used Pakistan like toilet paper. That's what Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif has said in a startling admission about his country's past alignment with the United States. Accusing Washington of exploiting his country for its strategic interests, Asif said the US later discarded Pakistan like a piece of toilet paper once its objectives were met. Speaking in Pakistan's National Assembly, Khwaja Asif admitted that Pakistan often denies its terror history, calling it a mistake committed by dictators in the past. The minister also termed Islamabad's involvement in two Afghan wars a mistake, saying that the terrorism Pakistan is facing today is a blowback of past mistakes. Asif said the costs of realigning with the United States after 1999, particularly following the September 11, 2001 attacks, were devastating. In his words, Pakistan was treated worse than a piece of toilet paper. It was used for a purpose and then thrown away. The defense minister added that Islamabad again aligned itself with Washington in the US-led Afghan war in the post-2001 period, turning against the Taliban in the process. And while the United States eventually withdrew from the region, Pakistan was left grappling with prolonged violence, radicalization and economic challenges. Asif told the country's parliament that two former military dictators, Ziaul Haq and Pervez Musharraf, had joined the war in Afghanistan not for the sake of Islam but to appease a superpower. We deny our history and do not accept our mistakes. Terrorism is a blowback of the mistakes committed by dictators in the past, the minister said. He added, the losses we suffered can never be compensated. Pakistan's mistakes are irreversible, he said. 10 people have been killed and at least 25 injured in shootings at a school and home in British Columbia in Canada. 6 victims were found dead inside Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, while a 7th person died on the way to hospital. 2 more people were found dead inside a residence nearby. The police believe the shootings are connected. The suspected attacker was also found dead at the school with a self-inflicted injury. Authorities have said they know the attacker's identity but have not revealed their name or gender. A shelter-in-place alert sent to phones in the area described the suspected attacker as a female in a dress with brown hair. At least 2 other people were taken to hospital with serious or life-threatening injuries following the attack, and 25 other people are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has said he's devastated by the horrific shootings. British Columbia Premier David Eby says officers' swift response meant the tragedy was prevented from being significantly worse. Tumbler Ridge is a town of about 2,400 people located around 415 miles north of Vancouver, the largest city in British Columbia. Incidents of such a nature are extremely rare in Canada. Gun ownership in the country is largely regulated by the national government, and there are stricter gun laws in place than most American states. Under Canada's Firearms Act, guns must be kept locked and unloaded. Anyone wishing to buy a firearm is also subject to extensive background checks.
At least 10 people were killed and many injured at the school shootout in British Columbia, turning a place of learning into a scene of horror. According to the Canadian police, the attack unfolded at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School just after 1:20 p.m. local time. Reuters, citing the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, said 6 people were found dead inside a high school. 2 more people were found dead at a residence believed to be connected to the incident. Another person died on the way to hospital. 2 victims have been airlifted to hospital with serious or life-threatening injuries. 25 others were being checked for injuries at a local medical center. But where was the shooter? Was he male or a female? What was the motive? Who was responsible?
But I think the last time, the school shooters in Canada, there was one every few years as opposed to one every few days down in the States. And, I used to kind of go, look at Canada, look at who we are. But then, then that one school shooting every 2.5 years happens in your town, and things are just go, rails. I was going to talk about the fact that the alert had been lifted, the lockdown had been lifted. And just as that happened, I got another note saying that the RCMP had released a press release, and it had all the information in it that there was basically 10 dead. And yeah, that was not what I was expecting. There's been troubled kids here in town before. As somebody who worked as a teacher, I got to deal with some of them. But something like this, this is, yeah. My youngest kid is just barely out of high school, so it's that close. My eldest daughter works 300 meters from the school. Again, there but for the grace of God.
The Canadian police said the suspected shooter was found dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted injury. An emergency text alert described the suspect as a female in a dress with brown hair. Police added that it did not believe there were any more suspects or ongoing threat to the public. RCMP Superintendent Ken Floyd told reporters that investigators had identified the shooter but would not release a name, but that the suspect's motive remained unclear.
On February 10th at approximately 1:20 p.m., Tumbler Ridge RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. A police-initiated public alert was issued as officers responded. The alert was canceled at around 5:30 p.m. once police determined there was no outstanding suspects and no ongoing threat to the public. As part of the initial response, officers entered the school to locate the source of the threat. During their search, police located multiple victims. The individual believed to be the shooter was also found deceased from what appears to be a self-inflicted injury. 6 additional people, not including the suspect, were found deceased inside the school. 2 victims were airlifted to hospital with serious or life-threatening injuries, and a 3rd victim died being transported. All remaining students and staff have been safely evacuated, which was about 100 people. Police are working closely with the school district to support a coordinated reunification process for families. Approximately 25 others are being assessed and treated at the local medical center for non-life-threatening injuries. As the investigation progressed, officers identified a secondary location believed to be connected to the incident. 2 additional victims were located deceased inside a residence. Police are conducting further searches of other homes and properties to determine whether anyone else may be injured or otherwise linked to today's events.
The fallout of the Epstein scandal keeps growing by the day. Democratic Congressman Rahul Gandhi has said he forced the US Justice Department to reveal 6 thus far hidden names allegedly tied to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's shadowy network. These names are billionaire Leslie Wexner, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Salvatore Nuara, Zurab Mikeladze, Leonik Leonov, and Nicola Caputo. The disclosure follows mounting pressure from Capitol Hill to unmask what critics call the Epstein class. US lawmakers say this is just the beginning of a long-delayed reckoning. On the 9th of February, Congress members were finally granted access to unredacted Justice Department files in a secure reading room. Reps Rahul Gandhi and Thomas Massey spent 2 hours scanning millions of pages. They say they found at least 6 previously redacted names likely incriminated by the way the files are structured. One individual is described as pretty high up in a foreign government. Another is a well-known retired CEO. The implications are explosive. The review was enabled by the Epstein Files Transparency Act, signed into law last November. The law bars redactions meant to shield powerful figures from embarrassment or political fallout. Yet, lawmakers say many files remain heavily blacked out. That's all the time we have on this edition of Headlines at 8. Thanks for watching. Do join us again at the same time tomorrow.